first 12 years of her life, she lived on a farm and did the farm work of canning fruits and vegetables, and that's what they all did, because they not only had the family, but they had workers, farm workers, and she had a great work ethic, and the family believed in education. So she was educated well too, and worked at the nursing profession. She moved from Omaha to Denver, and we were in a young people's club, church club, and that's how we met. I just saw her with a group of 3 other ladies at this dance at the club, and I just picked her out for some reason, but got to know her, and I admired her ethnic and religious values. We had a child very quickly, and the first one was a stillborn, and it gave us an appreciation for children. So it seemed like the rest of our young life, our young married life, was strictly taking care of kids. When the children were young, it was a basis that we worked from 6 in the morning till 6 at night. It was a full day's work taking care of them.
I was number 10 of the 11 children, and they had 11 kids in 13 and a half years. And it was pretty expected that it was a team effort. And my mom and dad were very organized and very hardworking. But as a child, we kind of knew what was expected of us, and you would just kind of go with the flow and understand that this was a team effort, and in order for it to work, everybody had to pitch in. We
weren't poor, but we had a modest income, and Marie could stretch $1 into next week. And she supplied food for the family, which was wholesome and good, but very plain. I don't think any of the kids have eaten bean soup since then, but it worked at the time.
I think the biggest thing that was very emphasized to us was what it was like to be a have-not, to remember the people that don't have what we were given. And she just did this very naturally. You know, if something came up, she'd say, oh, my son Ted and Mark and Phil and any of us, if we were available, she would volunteer us. And I think it exposed us to some really great scenarios that we maybe would not have chosen on our own.
Her entree to many things. It was a chance to do something for someone else. And I think that's her motivation.
My mom knew the manager at Safeway, and she saw him throwing away bruised fruit or spoilage of one thing or another.
She started this deal of the picking up the fruits and vegetables from the local supermarket. I would go over there every other day and pick up cases of all kinds of, a lot of broccoli and eggplant and what have you, but there was a lot of other things such as strawberries sometimes.
The word got out very quickly, and people came to our house and they were fed.
You never knew what you got. Sometimes I got 2 cases and sometimes I got 9 cases. And it was just a project that Marie started, so we did it.
She would even take the leftovers from that and start the soup pot and cook for the soup kitchen. So nothing was ever thrown away.
They provided soup for a lot of hungry people many years out of their kitchen. And I borrowed a big pot a couple times.
When you have 11 kids, everything you do is big because that's how you think. And that turned into her daily life. And at one point, she was given an award as the Mother Teresa of Denver. And it was because the poor people could approach her and say, this is what we need. And my mom was very good at connecting them with other people.
Marie's values for providing to the poor and underserved extended to people at the end of life. She originally was very concerned about how people living with AIDS were treated and their alienation from society. So it was that concern that really motivated her to call upon some dear friends to help her start what was to become the Hospice of Peace.
Marie gave me a telephone call and asked if I would come to her home. She said, I'm having a few people, some professionals, to start something along the line of a hospice, and we were thinking of calling it the Hospice of Peace. The first meeting, she had great support. There were many people there very interested, and that was the inception of it, and as we all know, it just grew from that one silent meeting.
Not very many people realize that the very first license that was issued from the state of Colorado was to the Hospice of Peace. And so Marie really is the founder of end-of-life care in Denver.
She was always willing to pitch right in and do whatever needed doing and help and take you if you needed to go, and just was there for people regardless of their status or socioeconomic condition, and she seemed to have an understanding of people.
Catholic Charities wanted to hire Marie, actually, to pay her for her work, and she was adamant in making clear that she had no interest whatsoever in being paid, that this was volunteer, this was really important to her. So the very essence of what the mission for St. Anthony's Hospice, for Centura Health, is so embodied from the very beginning of our program.
Marie had the wonderful ability to inspire others to become involved in the community.
I feel that some of Marie's greatest accomplishments were the gifts she gave to her family, and that they are now following through with the outreach to community, which she did a lot of.
So it's not just Centura Health, but the whole state of Colorado that owes a debt of gratitude to Marie Sevier for her passion and commitment to end-of-life care.
My mom was diagnosed with cancer in September, and she was pretty calm about it. She called each of the children and told everybody that she had cancer, and she was bound and determined that she was going to beat this. She went through 41 days of radiation, and she went through 8 weeks of chemotherapy. And even the oncologist said, "You know, Marie, it's okay if you give up," because she was pretty sick. And my mom looked at Dr. McLaughlin and said, "Now, why would anyone do something like that?" So when we heard that the cancer had spread and that there was no other options for her, we called hospice, and hospice started in-house.
Porter Hospice and St. Anthony Hospice provide an environment in which families and patients are allowed to come together to go through the process of dying in a comfortable, warm, loving environment.
I just looked to hospice because I had no idea what was to come. And it was a very amazing relief for me and my father that they came in and sat down and explained to us what we were up against and what to expect. And I don't know, I couldn't have done it without them.
I was especially blessed to be able to be a part of Marie's care while she was at home. She has such a loving family that all came together and united in order to be able to take care of her.
We just felt that you weren't alone in this awful situation. And they helped with the medication and the pain relief. And anytime we had a question or a concern, they'd call us back within a half hour. And we had a lot of questions. And again, I just felt like they held our hand and guided us.
The hospice team provided support for the family to take care of Marie, both physically and emotionally and spiritually. But sometimes there comes a point when a person needs 24-hour professional care. And at that point in time, we as a support staff and the family come to the conclusion that 24-hour care is needed. And Marie was able to go to the Johnson Center in order to receive that professional 24-hour care.
Our organization felt so privileged and honored to provide the care for Marie in her journey at the end of life that she had so inspired for for all of us to provide to others.
What a unique situation for Marie herself to be able to be the beneficiary of all that she had started.
Porter Hospice and St. Anthony Hospice continue to benefit from Marie's legacy of giving. These programs would not be sustainable without the donations of time and money from our community.
I have been a part of St. Anthony Hospice, Hospice of Peace for the last 10 years, and I am so proud to be able to continue the legacy that Marie has started for our company.
The story of Marie, the inspiration of Marie Sevier, is that her commitment and her passion about doing something that would so impact people's lives at the end of life lives on in the legacy of St. Anthony's Hospice, and we will forever be indebted to her.
My mom was always involved in hospice, but I didn't really understand hospice until I lost a mother-in-law to cancer and had hospice care, and then lost my mother. And I just feel very, very strongly and will support this organization for the rest of my life. And it's because the dignity that they provided for my mother and for my family at a difficult time. And I'll never, ever forget it.